Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. It is officially, what? It's the season kickoff eve.
Yeah,
Karen,
it's crazy. Oh
man,
man,
we're here. We're
it's been a
here.
very long off season. Very long off season.
Feels longer than normal.
Mm, most definitely.
Feels longer than normal. So excited to talk with everybody. I am at the hotel right now, so trying to conduct the stream from the hotel. But as you guys come into the chat, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Show us some love. Really, really appreciate it. If you're on your lunch break, if you took today off, knowing it's Labor Day weekend and trying to get all that extra time in, I applaud you guys. If you're traveling to Austin, please be safe. We know the weather is going to be a little up and down, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to our sponsor, BUSR, busr.com/fanatic, the official sports book, the official betting partner, official sponsor of Fanatic Perspective. Last night we had the backyard brawl, West Virginia and Pitt. I did bet West Virginia to cover the 7.5. We sweated it out and we got it in. I know some of us lost some money on Oklahoma State and Central Michigan, as Oklahoma State did not cover the 21.5.
It looked like it for a minute too.
It looked,
Oh,
man, we were cruising, Bubba.
looked like a lot. Goodness.
And so, for all of your needs, if you're looking for a reliable sportsbook betting partner, I know BA uses BUSR, and he was just telling me the other day how great the customer service was with helping him settle just the challenge he was having. So when those things arise, you want a partner you can trust. Heisman odds, not too late. I put my money on Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. He had 4 touchdowns last night. A lot of different guys. Tran put his money on Bijan Robinson. So maybe we'll get a Heisman pick out of Karen here in a little bit. I don't know.
You will.
But
You will. You'll get one. You'll get a solid one.
yeah, so excited to talk some ball, man. It's game week. As you guys are showing up here in the chat, I've been hesitant to give my season record prediction. And Karen, watching last night's game and the week 0 games, Nebraska, Northwestern, just one thing I want to ask you about this. I feel like every year we don't take into account how nasty some of these games can be. And I actually thought yesterday's game was really good, but it was also, you could tell it's week 1, right?
Yeah.
And the emotions haven't played since 2011. So and you're seeing these games go on and craziness happening. I think Oklahoma State's defense is going to be trash 5 weeks from now? Don't you think that there's these hard changes that happen in college football very early in the season to kind of progress to where the average is really going to be? I don't know if I'm wording that well or if you understand what I'm saying, but
Yeah. No, I mean I get it. I think early on in these seasons it's so hard to tell what a team is actually going to be. Like obviously you can see a form of the identity that they want to create, but at the same time, man, like so much changes throughout the course of 3-4 weeks, even whenever these teams get in the conference play, that it's crazy. But to have a rivalry game week 1, crazy. Like I don't
after a
know if I can
decade
handle
off,
that. Yeah, after I can't imagine playing A&M first game of the season. Imagine that. That's absolutely not. that's too much because not
it
only
was
is your
intense
team.
last night, dude.
It really was. It really was. And you got to see West Virginia feels more confident this season. They look like they're going to be a decent contender in the in the Big 12 this year. I think everybody was saying that the Big 12 is wide open this year. We don't know what teams are going to be capable of going out there and competing. And they do look stronger, more physical. They look faster. They look better. JT Daniels looked like a solid college quarterback last night. You know what I mean? And when he's actually playing football, I don't think he's really shown to be bad. But yeah, I just think early on in the season, you really don't know these teams' identity. I mean, for the best season we've had in the past decade, we lost to Maryland week 1. You know what I mean? We struggled against Tulsa week 3 that same season. You know what I mean?
And then turned up on USC.
Exactly. Turned up on USC. Just obliterated USC. You know what I mean? Went out there, smacked USC around. right after struggling with Tulsa and losing to Maryland. So
it's so the reason why we're kind of saying this is we really we gotta have to kind of navigate the waters the first couple of weeks, and that includes the Bama game for Texas. I don't want to jump to that just yet because we do have a game tomorrow against the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks, and the weather's I was on record for those who don't know, and I'll put an announcement here. I did an episode this week on the Fire the Cannon podcast with my good friends Rocky and Megan. We had a blast. If you're driving down tomorrow morning or you're driving down tonight, please listen to that podcast. It's available on all platforms. Fire the Cannon. Go check those guys out. But when we did our picks, at the time, I did pick Texas to cover the 38.5 against Louisiana Monroe. However, weather being, they're talking about there could be lightning delays and all sorts of chaos going on. With the uncertainty of the conditions, this may be, we get up a little bit, we run the football and go home and just get out of the game. Right. And I'm curious to see how that happens. I mean, I still think we're going to, really have a good showing. And if everything is right, I think we really will blow this team out week one. That's just my expectation. With the energy, the excitement, these guys are ready to showcase some things. You can tell we have some guys, including the quarterback, I believe, that are guys that want to perform under the lights, so to speak. I don't know. Where's your head at going into week one?
So I figured this game was going to be a blowout anyway, and then I watched our boy Texas Homer's video on ULM and what they're bringing back this year, and they are bringing back the worst offensive line in college football. They were the worst run blocking unit, the worst pass blocking unit by a wide margin. They won 4 games last year. They do have a new offensive coordinator. I mean, not that I think we need to go in depth on ULM, but I think this should be get everybody some reps, get Quinn Ewers comfortable with the offense. I think it will suck though if the rain ends up being a really big issue. You know what I mean? Because if the rain ends up being a huge issue for us, I'm not going to be too comfortable with Quinn Ewers not having as many reps as he possibly could throwing that thing. You know what I mean? Up against Alabama. So to me, I would like to just air it out, get Bijan maybe 7-8 carries. Let him house some because I think he's going to have a big game or a really big season this year as well. But and then get him about 7-8 carries, get him right out of there, and then get Quinn Ewers as comfortable with the offense as possible.
And here's the other thing. When we're talking about reps, I want to be very clear with folks right now. We're not talking about hiding plays and stuff like that against Bama. They have whatever their game plan is for Bama. Newsflash, it's already in. It's already in, just like it was in for LSU when we played them week 2. But week 1, you're still running your offense. You're still running all of your base. And Texas should be able to score with no problem just running your base stuff. I mean, if I'm running, let's say I'm running wide zone with Bijan, right? There's no new, other than the formation, there's really no nuance to that. He should be able to house a lot of those like he did against Rice. Like that, there was no, it was just him freaking dudes in the middle of the field and take it off. Like there's no like, oh, I don't want to show this or that. I know there's been talk about go and all this type of stuff. Yeah, they probably don't show any of that stuff. But just running 12 personnel, crossers, all of your normal stuff that everybody has on tape, y'all should be able to put up 50, 60 points.
Yeah.
That's my expectation.
Easily.
Just with that, like watching the little bit I saw of Tennessee last night wasn't running anything complicated. They were just scoring. Like, this is what we do. Tomorrow, to me, Karen, is strictly about execution. Tomorrow is about execution, right? And what do we look like again? We're going up against a different opponent, but this opponent, I expect them to be overwhelmed with Xavier Worthy, Bijan, all the talent we have. But it's really more about when we have our young guys in there and all these different people, Quinn Ewers included, playing with confidence, playing fast, executing, making sure that, we put some numbers up. Guys are feeling good. I see rushing here. Our boy Ash. Ash coaches high school. He always talks about young guys. As a coach, you want to build in wins, within the play. So when Brendan Thompson checks in, let's make sure his first college game, we get him a nice, easy ball out there where he can just go and run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
No thinking,
exactly.
just boom, and we're flying. I'm also excited for the defense, man. So one of the other things I wanted to touch on is now, rain or not, this is where I don't care. Okay. And this is why, people are like, oh, that's a big number, 30.5. I also look at it from the standpoint of this. I expect to get a score on defense. I expect to force a fumble. I expect to get an interception. Special teams, right? We were one of the best punt block units in the country last year, whether it's punt block, whether it's punt return, what have you. Kieran, I'm looking for disruption across the board from these fellas.
And we should have disruption too. To me, there's no excuse for this. I think everyone's going to think the D line looks amazing after this week. If we haven't gotten to the quarterback 4 or 5 times, not going to be too confident in this pass rush unit this season. I mean, we're going against one of the worst offensive line, not one of the worst offensive line in college football from last season. A lot of those guys are coming back. I think you're going to have to. The defense is going to have a good showing. If they're putting up more than 14 against the starters, even if they're putting up 14 against the starters, I think that's a lot of points. You know what I mean? So I think this defense would be very disruptive. I think we should be scoring at least a non-offensive touchdown or two. You know what I mean? I want to see some disruption, and we should, because ULM is just not a good football team.
And there'll be moments where there's a lapse or whatever. It's game 1. There's going to be some jitters. I expect some of those things, but over the course, I don't want to use the term weather the storm, considering what we're dealing with tomorrow. But all things considered, you're just looking for the kids to have fun, go out there, execute, play fast. I want all these young guys thinking like, this is why I came to Texas. This is why this is going to be fun. And then we move right after that. It's we're ready to play Alabama, right? Like this is not a mystery at this point. Now, some of the notes, I know that they wrote on Inside Texas and some of the things like that. Wednesday, Sark allegedly said that it was the best practice he's ever been a part of since he's been at Texas.
It's game. The season is
like
back. The season is here, yo.
The Kool-Aid, brother.
The season is. I mean, like, to be fair though, when Sarkisian said it, they do come out on fire. I mean, he said it. I think it was before the Texas Tech week. He was just like, I think we just had a phenomenal week of practice. Everybody's really responded from this Arkansas loss. Yada yada yada. Went out there, lit them up. You know what I mean? Or no. That was after the Rice week. You know what I mean?
After the Rice week.
Yeah. After we're rejuvenated. Then before Oklahoma, he was like, we had another phenomenal week of practice. I'm excited for this. We went out there, came out with our heads, on fire. It was awesome. But I mean, hopefully that's a good sign for us. Hopefully that's a really good sign for this defense, the interior. But man, the season is back. I'm excited to hear that every week, and then have to just live with whatever happens on Saturday over and over again.
So let's get a little bit more granular, and then we'll get into predictions and all that, because I can't wait to hear who you got for Heisman. From a alignment perspective, so we expect one of the things you've really where I really have really respected the work you've done in preparing for this season, Kieran, is on the defensive side. And I believe Alfred Collins, they're going to sit Alfred Collins tomorrow, but sounds like your boy Jade is going to play. And so we expect Watts at the boundary, Jamison to the field, Jade and the star and the nickel, and then Jaron and A. Cook to be our safeties.
Yeah.
With J.D. Coffey in the mix, Keaton Crawford in the mix. What are you looking to see from those dudes? And also alignment, right? Like, do you want to see B.J. Allen in the mix? Like, what are your thoughts? I want to start with you with the secondary. Just your takeaways there.
Honestly, I think in the secondary, the thing that I'm looking forward to most is solid communication. I don't want to see any busted in coverage. And from a I don't know if physical standpoint is the right word, but from a pure like just player to player standpoint, I'm trying to watch these safeties not be turned around chasing somebody downfield. You know what I mean? I want them to be on the ball. If ULM tries a deep shot, I want Jaron Thompson and Anthony Cook to be there, sitting on it, ready to you know what I mean, ready to make a play, jumping. I want two heads clashing into each other. Michael Griffin and no playing like no,
I know
but
what you mean, though.
yeah, no, but I want to see these safeties keep everything in front of them. I mean, it's ULM. Obviously, you don't have to go out there and show every single defensive package that you have. You can run base, which I think it's ULM is an interesting test because we're going to find out what base is. But I just don't want to see any slip ups, any lapses in judgment. I want to see solid communication, and good God, I don't want to see any hard bites on double moves that end up being like touchdowns or anything like that. I want to see them play fundamentally sound. If you give up some short things, I'm okay with that against ULM. Against ULM, I'm okay. If you want to play 8 yards off and give up an easy 2-yard route, because they're not going to be able to consistently throw those. You know what I mean? Like, sure, that's fine. You know, but getting beat deep against a team like this, inexcusable. So solid communication over the top, and I'm really interested to see what these guys look like. I want to see what Ryan Watts looks like. Can he take his side of the field away?
Robert Sanchez, thank you for the super chat. If Bijan doesn't at least win the Doak, is he considered a bust or disappointment to an elite talent? I wouldn't just reduce it to an award for him. I mean, at this point, I would say, considering everything that Bijan's personally had to deal with, he's as good a football player as he's possibly can be for us. Running back is a dependent position. It's a dependent position in football. So you can only do so much at that position, right? He's not.
You can only run through the holes that are created for you. like you can create some things. You could turn a minus 2-yarder into a 3-yarder, but you're never going to have a 1,500-yard rushing season when you have a trash offensive line. Sorry, it's just not going to happen.
Exactly. And to add to that, and thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. It's a great question. To add to that, if he doesn't, like, if you want to look at it like, oh, we didn't get enough out of him or anything like that. I mean, at the end of the day, this is more of an indictment on the team, not him. The NFL already, Marlon said he's a first-round pick. I agree. The NFL has already told you how they feel about Bijan Robinson with his current where he stands right now. Now things can change, injuries, all of those things. But Kieran and I already know they love him from the tape they've seen for the last 2 years and the guy he is. So this is more awards like this for dependent positions. Now, if he's a corner where he's on an island and he has more work and it's more about, that's different, right? Yeah. But for stuff like this, like when Deontay Foreman won the Doak, that was as much award for him as it was for Connor Williams and Patrick Vahe and Zach Shackelford. Right.
Yeah.
So just consider that. I have not bought the mustard yet, but I will get some very, very soon. I heard it's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Not the biggest Dijon mustard guy, but I'm going to try it. I got to support.
We have brothers on here from OU. Y'all very familiar with Chris and Seth. And Chris, I had to call him out because they were talking about brothers NIL deals. And I said, well, how you gonna hate on a black man getting money? He tried to take a shot at Bijan's mustard deal. It was like, boy get mustard deals. I'm like, I thought we were supposed to support the brothers in the community, man.
It's all good.
What's going on with you? So
they're just jealous their boy Drake Stoops didn't get a Wrangler jean deal like Quinn Ewers. That's pretty much all it is. They can stay hating up north. You know what I mean? It's all good. We're just gonna cash some checks out here.
Just a few other notes and tidbits about tomorrow. I'm going to kind of go a little rapid fire. Do you think Malik Murphy plays? Gets
tomorrow? If it rains, no.
Okay.
If it dries up and they're capable of throwing some routes out there, yes, I think he does. I think he touches maybe the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. If we end up getting that one drive.
Yeah. Because from a talent-wise, looking at the schedule right now, again, we just said to qualify everything, the top of the video, college football is very unique. We don't know what these teams are until well and close into the season when we know who's good, who's not, blah, blah, blah. But I would venture to guess this is probably the least talented opponent we'll face. And because we get those 4 games, and this is Malik is just the first person that came to mind, but you could insert some other freshmen that you guys want to see. I know the staff does try to work guys in a little bit just to get them something. If you got 4 games, you might as well try to use them. It's not about, taking a shot at Hudson Card or anything like that. It's just more so, I got 4 games. This is one of those 4 games where if we get up by a lot, I can put the guy in and get him some game reps. So that's why I asked that question. What about Jaden Blue, some of those other guys?
I think Jaden Blue is definitely going to get some carries. I think just like later on in the game, just like Jonathan Brooks got last season.
Right, against Rice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you'll see him. I think you'll see Savion Red. I think you'll see some Troy O'Meara, obviously.
I'm excited to see Troy.
I'm excited to see Troy actually play a game. Yeah, Troy O'Meara's first game in his junior season. This is crazy. I'm excited to see Troy O'Meara finally go out there and play some football. I think you're going to see everybody on offense at the skill positions, other than probably Ajay Hall. Everybody on scholarship at the skill positions. And then defensively, I think you'll probably see, you're definitely going to see Jaylen Gilbert. I would say you'd see some. Oh, you're definitely going to see some Jameer Johnson. Jameer Johnson has lit up fall camp. Apparently, he's had a really, really solid camp. I'm excited to see what these guys look like because I want to see the improvement from the spring game, because we heard Jameer Johnson was having a pretty solid spring, but out there at the spring game, Isaiah Nair.
Yeah, he looked rough in the spring game.
Yeah, he looked rough in the spring game.
Terence Brooks a little bit too.
Yeah, exactly. But now Terence Brooks, we talked heavily about his weight before, why he was 210 during spring camp, and now he's down to I believe like 195.
Good. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's slimmed down. He's playing solid at the corner position too. But he's right there in that 2 deep mix with Jaylen Gilbert. I mean, these freshmen are going to end up pushing for some time later on if things aren't going the way of the starters. So I'm interested to see what they look like. Those are the 2 positions that I'm really looking heavily at. What these wide receivers look like whenever we get further down the line. And then also these corners, man, because I think we have so many bodies to throw at the safety position, but corner, good God, you you got Jameson, you got Watts, you got Barron. After that, it's like, oh well, do we move Keaton Crawford back? Is Jameer Johnson going to be able to play? Ishmael Ibrahim, Jaylen Gilbert. We're talking about freshmen and people that have never seen game snaps before. Yeah, exactly.
Mike Gosnell, I appreciate the super chat. Get well soon, brother. Take care of yourself, and hope you recover from COVID. Predictions on yards for Worthy this season. With Nair out, this number goes up. This number goes up. And knowing what Sark has done schematically with guys when he's really had to kind of hone in on his number one guy and it's really well established, I think you could see upwards of 1,300 to 1,400 yards potentially this season from Xavier Worthy. And that's a big number for Texas players, quite frankly. Yeah. I don't even know what our season. I'm sure it's probably Jordan Shipley or somebody. I should look that up real quick in terms of, or somebody wants to put that in the comments of the single season Texas receiving yard record for a single year. If y'all want to look that up, or I can do that real quick. But I just think with the nature of the offense, the volume, Nair being gone, them really. They need to get enough out of that second receiver, and they need Jordan Whittington to stay healthy in order so that they don't do that triangle BS on Xavier Worthy that teams figured out how to do last year. We cannot have him running through 3 levels of a backer, a corner, a safety, and all this type of stuff.
Let me tell you why it's going to work out.
Please.
Steve Sarkisian. And by the way, the record is Jordan Shipley, 1,485 yards. Second is Devin Duvernay. Good God, Devin Duvernay, 2019.
Devin Duvernay, I forgot. I know I was forgetting somebody. Duvernay. Good, thank you.
Kwame Cavill, Roy Williams. There's a bunch of people tied at like 1,000. John Harris, top 10. Shout out to John Harris, man.
John Harris,
top 10. But yeah, I mean, last year, if you look at Xavier Worthy, he was probably gonna. I mean, if you guys saw the video I put up on Twitter of all the misses, I'm sorry and also that was not a shot at Casey Thompson, Hudson Card. That was more of a like, okay, let's look at the opportunities that Xavier Worthy missed. Like, this is how wide open he's running. I didn't like the fact that everybody was coming at Casey or Hudson for missing these throws. It is what it is. But um, I think when you saw what Sark did at Alabama, out of 12 personnel with the 2 tight end sets, after Jalen Waddle went down with injury with
Good
Devontae
point.
Smith, he is going to use Xavier Worthy as his Swiss Army knife in this offense. And the thing is, though, he's capable of doing that so well because he's going to have a secondary or a second and third receiving option as well. Like I think you can use a Jatavian Sanders more than he was able to use like a say Miller Forrestall in that offense. You know what I
Great
mean?
point.
I have a take on that too. Like that was what I was saying. Like the 2 most important players on this team that take you from an 8-win team to a conference title contender are DeMarvion Overshown and Jatavian Sanders. I've been saying that for the past couple of weeks, and I
Double
truly believe
zeros.
that. Yeah, exactly. It's the double zeros. If those 2 guys play at an elite level, you're going to have a conference championship caliber football team. Period. But I think because you're going to have Jatavian Sanders there, you're going to have a healthy Jordan Whittington. Hopefully you're going to have a healthy Jordan Whittington. Goodness gracious, don't want to see that guy hurt ever again. And because you're going to have, hopefully later on down the line we get a Jai Hall back. Hopefully we get him back next week before this Alabama game. You know what I mean? But I think with all of these other people around, there's going to be more options. There's going to be more threats. But the way that Sarkisian used Devontae Smith in 12 personnel in 2020, I think you're going to see him using Xavier Worthy a lot. And you could see him trying to tease that last year when he moved him in motion a lot. He was doing those like quick little pitches, running him in orbit, stopping and going. Like he used
Even in
Devontae
the red
Smith.
zone, you're right. He was
Exactly.
using him in jet motion, a lot of jet
Yeah.
motion inside the 10-yard line for
The
Worthy.
one touchdown that we scored against Iowa State last year was like a jet motion that like Hudson Card flipped up against him. He's gonna use him everywhere on that field, and especially because Isaiah Nayer's out now, he's got to. He's got to. So Xavier Worthy, I think, is going to be, obviously we say this a lot. We say that he's going to have a big season, this and this and that. The dude is going to be electric this year, straight up.
Great points, Kieran. Joshua, thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna try to get caught up on the chat. I apologize for not having it up on the screen earlier. But another super chat. Thank you, Hookem. Hey, come find us at the game tomorrow. Both Tran, our families will be there on Bevo Boulevard. We're gonna have a good time. So we'll try to be out there. Hopefully the weather's holding up, and so hopefully we can meet in person. Excited to see the offensive line improvement. So Kira made a point earlier about communication with the safeties. This is also important for the offensive line, and where there is value. And we know Jake Majors. You know, not only was he in a battle with Junior Angilau was going to overtake him. But where the value still comes with Jake Majors is him being that elder statesman in the room from a experience standpoint in communication, whatever young guys are in there, and being able to also checks with a young quarterback. These are things, all of the pass blocking issues we had last year were not exclusive just to the offensive line. They didn't play well. Okay, they didn't grade well. We know this. But there are certain times within a football game where we as fans cannot see if there was a, improper check, or, somebody didn't slide the way they were supposed to slide in terms of the running back, right? Or whoever getting communication to the offensive line, where my quarterback and my running back can see things that the offensive line can't see. So it's not always just, they got defeated physically, right? Some of this stuff is just, you were supposed to slide over in that gap, bro, and pick that up. Like it's not always just we were getting bullied, right?
Yeah.
And so those are some things I think another year into this with everybody, and really, I think there's been an emphasis this offseason on team building, on communication, on holding people accountable. It's hard to communicate with people who you look at as a coworker. It's hard to communicate with people where y'all are not close. Y'all don't care. You know what I mean? You're not talking. You can tell.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm more so looking to see from them. I think they got the bodies and the physical guys there, and I think they'll find that right group. It may take them a few combinations of guys to find the right balance there, but communication wise is the same thing with the offensive line.
I think the offensive line was footwork and lack of communication. To be honest, that was what killed us more than anything last year. Because you're not going to sit here and tell me like Denzel Okafor and Toby Amade can't push somebody off the ball. You know what I mean? When they get their hands on them, it was more just bad footwork, poor communication on stunts, twists, everything. You know what I mean? Not being able to hold them up. But I think we're going to see an improved offensive line later on down the season. Early on. I mean, we are going to be starting two freshmen. I know there's not a depth chart released, but John Robinson kind of alluded to that in his like press availability. He was just like, yeah, we're starting Cole and Kelvin. So we're going to see what happens there. It's gonna be a ride, and it could either be a phenomenal one, and we're like, holy crap, these freshmen are amazing, or it can be a little learning experience, but we got to be ready for whatever.
When's Taffy getting a scholarship?
He's got to be getting one by the end of the fall, or by either next spring. The dude was hard pitching Arch Manning. Like you're gonna just from a pure recruiting standpoint, sure. But also he's right there in the 2 deep at the start.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. They've been saying he's gonna play. He has been playing. Yeah. When you see any of the open practices or any of the footage, he's getting reps with the defense. And he was a guy who was a very, high level defensive back at Westlake, right? On a state championship team, and made Sports Center and, crazy. A lot more athletic than you think for the white corners out there, but my man is ready to ball, man. Also, he needs an NIL deal too for his efforts.
I'm sure one is coming.
Something's
I'm not
gotta come.
And the walk-ons? Oh no, yeah, they can do it.
Yeah, they can get some bread. Yeah, get these guys some bread, man. Let's see what else we got here. Kelvin Banks. Dustin said Kelvin Banks. Freshman All-American team. That's a prediction there.
I think if he starts all season, you're probably going to see that happening. What other freshman left tackles are going to be starting at this level of college football? And if he's keeping his job, I mean, he's performing at least well enough. You know what I mean? I think that's a pretty solid bet.
He said he can afford it.
He's not wrong. The dude went to Westlake. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Oh, man. Hey, I know we talked about the West Virginia game earlier in the show, guys. You can go back and check that out. But this comment's funny because I texted – I forgot who I texted last night, but I was like, Graham Harrell was calling them plays like he was playing quarterback, dog.
Oh,
like,
straight up.
He thought,
what's that name? What's a wide receiver? He thought he was Michael Crabtree so bad. Yeah, he thought he was Michael Crabtree so bad. He was like, man, just throw it up to him. Start double coverage, single, triple, doesn't matter. Like throw it up to him, dude. He's got a lot of Mike Leach in him. Out of all the Leach disciples, he's got the most Leach in him. I'll be honest with you. Those plays are crazy. Oh,
dude, what's funny though, in all seriousness, the Pitt corners. I know that they knew about Graham Harrell in their preparation or whatever. Like Pat Narduzzi's a great coach; he's always well prepared. There's no way they thought they'd be on their horses that much yesterday.
No.
There's no way, bro.
I mean, if you did your homework,
every play's a deep ball. What the hell is this?
Yeah, I was expecting like some short intermediate things, and I think that's probably like low key. I think that's why Graham Harrell might have struggled at USC because it was like deep shot, deep shot, deep shot. Whereas like Leach is capable of like, okay, I'm gonna open up, run to space, and like dink and dunk, or I can attack you deep. You know what I mean? But goodness gracious, yeah, he was taking shots. Like, I swear, if that last ball would have been a catch, I was in a bowling alley and I jumped up screaming. I was just like, yo, like, because I thought he legitimately caught that ball. That would have been insane. But yeah, shout out to CB in the chat talking about Rod Babers making the white corner extinct. I was gonna say that earlier. He was the replacement for Jason Sehorn, so he killed the white corner in the NFL. You can thank Rod Babers, a true Longhorn legend, for killing white cornerbacks in the NFL.
Longhorn legend Rod Babers. Ethan Burke, 2 sacks. Tomorrow, I'm assuming you're saying Billy. Hopefully we get 2. That would already match our season-leading total for last season, so that'd be awesome.
That would be great. I would love that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
But these are guys again, breakout guys. So if we start talking about breakout guys, Ethan Burke is somebody who's really come on. I mean, you have to be excited about his trajectory because he's a late bloomer in high school. He gets that 6'7" size.
Mhm.
He's multi-sport athlete, and really his body's not even there yet where it's gonna
No,
be. His body's not
it's not.
even there yet, and
I'm
but
telling you, he's going to look like a different person next fall camp because he's going to go through the off-season strength and conditioning
mhm.
program, like really tough in winter whenever they start focusing really on reshaping your body. Yeah, he's not like. I mean, if you see a picture of him, like no disrespect, dude looks like Mac Jones. Like he
Right
looks like a
now.
6'7" D. Yeah, exactly. He looks like Mac Jones right now. But I
But
think
the
like
thing
later
is,
on, he's going to get in
mhm.
some crazy shape.
But the great thing is, and thank you for the super chat, Billy. The great thing is they realize he can help us right now, just off his size, his motor, his
Mhm.
hands. He's very, very skilled. I mean,
His
you
get
play
off, yep.
lacrosse, you have good hand-eye coordination, right? And so just those things alone, until they get the body there, and he could be, an NFL guy potentially, like they know they can still use that guy right away. And there's job openings at those positions.
Yeah.
I love Ovi. I love, Sorrell. Sorrell's actually been one of my breakout guys. And that's a good example of somebody's body transforming
Yeah.
over a year, i.e. what Kieran just said, right? So, those are guys that we like, but they're still improving, right? This is still one of these question mark groups. And I think early in the season, I think if you're PK and the staff, they're kind of going to be using these games early to kind of figure out what their rotation is going to be, right? And especially while they get, they'll know that by the time they get to conference play. But some of this stuff is just going to have to experiment and see who's ready to, who's giving us good production and who's better in run situations. Like I want to see, can Prince Dorba play football for me? I want to
Yeah.
know. I want to know where the hell that guy from Highland Park went to, because he was
Yeah.
he was an amazing football player in high school.
He's
But
added
when
size.
he
He seems to be in the two deep now. So I mean, I would love to see him go out there tomorrow and actually get some pressure on the quarterback. Same with Derek Harris Jr. I mean, we saw that last year in that first game of the season, or I think it was actually the Rice game.
Good point. Yeah, no, you're right. It was the Rice game. Dirty Boy, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. With this being Jordan's last year before the NFL, uh, I'm assuming you said Shark, but Sark uses him the most to improve his draft stock, then turn around and use his recruiting pitch. Listen, this isn't just the case for Jordan. Okay, let me be very, very clear. NIL's dope. I'm glad kids are getting paid. They gotta rein in all the stuff behind the scenes, all that stuff. That's not what I'm saying. However, people are still looking to see who's developing folks that get to the NFL. Point blank, period. That's the one. You can only be in college for 4 years anyway, or 4 or 5, however many years, but you can only play, 4 or 5 seasons. So guys are still trying to get to the league. That's the mission. And as a school, your emphasis should always be on trying to. That's the point of college, right? Like if people are going to Texas so that we can flood the workplace with our people, so that they can, be successful and give back, right? And like that's the point of these institutions in general. So from a football perspective, if we look at it on a more micro standpoint, Texas has not fulfilled that promise from a drafted standpoint. Now, I made the tweet the other day. We're happy for Brendan Schooler making a 53 man. I know the
Yeah.
Josh Thompson thing got a little shaky. He's probably going to end up practice squad. I'm happy to see Sam Ellinger playing well. And I know I'm about to go on a tangent, but I don't really care. It's our channel.
Mm.
To see Sam Ellinger, I'll use him as an example, playing the way he's playing now. To see his body, to see his mechanics, we did him a disservice at our school, man. There's no other way around it. And I know that staff is not here. This is not on Sark and them. But as a school and as a program, we have to do a better job of putting these kids in a position to where they are going into the NFL and they're getting paid and they're highly regarded right off the bat. We have credibility, the
Yeah.
credibility we used to have. Sam Ellinger looks like he looks like Westlake Sam Ellinger again.
Yeah.
We didn't bulk him up to make him a fullback to run quarterback power 1,000 times, right? And get the boy banged up. He looks like a real quarterback now. And so it's just frustrating with guys like Jordan Whittington. He came here and he had already, he was injured from Cuero. B, we put weight on him and moved him to running back. Y'all remember that? Remember that? Because we need him.
215 when he came in. Yeah. off of a hernia injury in high school, we added 20 pounds of muscle to him. Yeah. It's not really the move.
It's insane. It's insane to me how we've missed this over the years. But to your point in this super chat, all these guys, this is important for Jordan. This is important for DeMarvion Overshown. You know, Jatavian Sanders, even the guys that are high recruits that have come in recently, that builds. Jatavian Sanders comes from a big high school of notoriety, right? Quinn Ewers, they're 5-star guys. What is the knock in the recruiting community been on Texas? If y'all send these they're not going to do nothing with them. That's what people say. They ain't going to get drafted. They're not going to maximize them like they would. I see Jansen here. What's good, Jansen? Like Bama will, like LSU will, like Clemson will. You see what I'm saying? So Sark and them, that is something where they're really, really focused on trying to fix that and build that credibility. It is important that Quinn Ewers plays up to what he's supposed to be. It is important that Jatavian Sanders, coming from Denton Ryan, plays up what he's supposed to be. This is important.
Homer just came in here
screwing with people's bodies.
Yeah, Homer just came in here and goodness gracious, Homer just came in here. I think you and Homer have heard me go on tangent after tangent about what they did to Jake Smith. Hey, shout out to Barry Sorrell though. 88 will be great. 2 sacks on ULM. I would love to see it, man. I'm excited to see what Barry Sorrell.
Shout out to Barry Sorrell. Thank you for the super chat. We're excited to see Barron. You already know what it is. 2 sacks. Let's get it. Hey, we love what your boys' body's looking like. We just commented on that, Barry. We saw him in the spring. He looks game ready.
Yeah,
putting in that work. Jake Smith is an incredible example that Texas Homer just brought up. This is exactly what we're talking about. Homer knows this. Go look at Jake Smith's body when he played high school football at Arizona. He didn't even look like the same person.
Yeah. They put 15 pounds of muscle on him. No. He came out of high school at like 190, and he ended up playing at 205 or like 210.
Dude, we were talking about making him a running back too. Like, just craziness.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think those days are gone, right?
Yeah.
Like there is an emphasis more on the agility aspect, the speed, the explosiveness.
We're not gonna talk about this a day before the new season starts.
I know. I took us on a tangent.
I'm seeing comments about the armor. Oh my god! No, not you. I'm just the comments are they're triggering me.
I feel like I triggered the whole group.
It's like, yeah, he put on 20 pounds of muscle. Now he's slow and has armor. Then he. Do y'all remember Keontae Ingram is
Keontae Ingram made the team too.
Yes, he's an NFL running back right now. He played last year at USC. He looked cut. I've never seen that man's deltoids before in my entire life, but you saw him when he was playing for USC. And guess what? He was the explosive, shifty running back that he was always supposed to be. The same guy that was shifty and was capable of actually running long distances at Carthage in high school. Man, goodness gracious. Okay, we can't go deep into this, but I'm excited to see us building these teams' bodies. You know, like us building these players' bodies, like in the correct way. You know what I mean? Like I see Chris Griffin up in here. Goodness gracious. I know they're excited about Schmitty putting 15, 20 pounds of muscle on everybody, but I'm happy that we're not doing that anymore. You know what I mean?
They're gonna learn the hard way. They stubborn over there.
Yeah.
We'll let them deal with that. Yeah. I ain't gonna jump in on them right now.
Yeah. LaRon Bowman over there. Billy Landry over there. We'll see how that works for you guys.
What have they done to my boy?
What did they do to him, man? What did y'all do to my guy? Goodness gracious.
Oh man. No, I think again, the example, right? Worthy. Yeah. This is a positive example to kind of take this back on track, because the super chat earlier from Mike Gosnell about Worthy's yards this year. Notice how Worthy still looks slim.
Yeah.
Like, because he came here with his high school body, because he wasn't with anybody in the spring. He was in the transfer portal. We get him here. He played basically with his high school body last season, productive. Now, the only thing I've really noticed with his body is he's not necessarily bigger. He's just
filled
more,
out.
he's filled out, right? It's
Yep.
more natural. He still looks, all the explosiveness is still there. I don't see, I don't need to see his traps or anything like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely
Can
not.
you run?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need to be able to run.
Max weight for Xavier Ward has got to be 180. I don't want to see him higher than that. I'm sure he was playing last year like 155. At times, like I'm 100% sure he was playing that light. But no. Oh my goodness.
Other breakout guys. So I have one for you, Karen, that I know is a guy for you that you've sold me on. So I'm gonna give you 100% of the credit for this. Because of how much you've gassed up Jaylen Gilbert, he's now one of my breakout players. And like people that we know, that we trust, that watch this team, and people that have talked to us that are like, yo, he's a dog. Like he can get after it. Like they're talking about him to the point of, and we know he had the setbacks and all that type of stuff, but sometimes the people that get all the setbacks are the people that are the real ones you need to win the big games. That's just the way it works. We know that formula very well.
Ramon Taylor's. You know,
Right.
everybody that gets in trouble.
You need some of those people.
Yeah.
It sounds to me that Jaylen Gilbert could be one of those guys where it causes a good problem. I should say, I'll put it this way. Good problem is we're in the staff meeting as coaches and we're like, we got to figure out how to get this guy on the field.
Yeah.
I don't know who we're taking off, but he's so good that we can't afford to keep not having him out there, right? And so I think that's a good problem that we could potentially have. Jaylen Gilbert is one of my breakout players, Karen.
So I love Jaylen Gilbert for multiple reasons. One, as unfortunate as Jahdae Barron getting hurt in fall camp was, you got to see Jaylen Gilbert play with the first team, and he held his own. Not only held his own, he performed well, starting in the slot for us. Also in the spring, if you don't remember, he's cross-trained at this point. He was here in the spring, was outside corner, ended up playing some nickel as well. Fall camp, he's playing nickel. I think he gives you the opportunity to say, hey, look, if things aren't working with Deshaun Jameson outside, if things aren't working with anyone else outside, you know what I mean? Like if things aren't working with Jahdae Barron on the interior, you have another guy to go to right there. I mean, I've said I would love to see Jahdae Barron go back out to field safe or to field corner, like to play on that outside. But at the same time, you have that luxury if things aren't going Deshaun Jameson's way this season. You can watch Jaylen Gilbert take over in that slot. Jahdae Barron can slide out, or maybe someone else gets another shot. But the two freshmen that have come in and played at a high enough level, Terence Brooks and Jaylen Gilbert, very high on. And I think Jaylen Gilbert has really cemented himself as that top freshman in the DB room.
Very exciting. Very, very excited for him. And the opportunity, like you said, that's what you want to see. Like you just said, with somebody getting injured, somebody going down. All right, now next man, people talk about next man up, but when next man up is somebody that's really talented, but you have questions and then they rise, now it's like, oh, we just created depth, like real depth, right? Like now this is good all of a sudden, because we already knew Barron can play, but now I got another guy that can, maybe at his level or even potentially better and more talented. Like we just really created like healthy depth here. So I think it's fantastic.
Shout out to JR, because that is exactly what Jaylen Gilbert reminds me of. He said he's gonna slap the turf before he Man, that is crazy. That is a crazy. Oh, wow, that's actually hilarious.
He's Pat Bev on turf.
Bev on turf is hilarious.
Sign me up, JR.
Guard up. That is crazy.
Hold on, I want to address something that Colby just said, because he's taking a shot at my boy. Colby, I need to put you front and center here, sir. Okay. Now, hold. What'd you say, Karen?
I said he's in the hot seat. Sorry.
Okay, Colby, you're in the hot seat now. All right. Now, look, this is not, group think slander type spaces. You're allowed to say things that go against the grain or people disagree with. All I say, and this is why this is how I've become good friends with our friend Sharp Sports. When you say something, I just want to know how you're getting there. So Colby, no, don't apologize. Don't apologize for having an opinion. Why aren't you sold on DTD? We haven't seen DTD play football here at Texas, right? I just want to know how you're getting to the point where, because you're saying 5'10", right? But we've seen recently in the Big 12 these little ass middle linebackers be absolute dogs all over the conference, to where it's like, are we going to be, only looking at that? I mean, this is a guy who was very productive. There are questions. Like last year, I thought Darian Dunn was going to be unbelievable coming from the FCS level, and he didn't do anything. So I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. I just want to know, Colby, how are you getting to the point where you're not sold on the guy, or you have questions? I just want to know. I'm not trying to harass you or anything.
I'm all for DTD, to be honest with you. I think he might not have the physical traits, but the dude knows how to read and react, which is how these linebackers get paid in the NFL. There's a league full of 4'8" linebackers, 4'8" 40 linebackers that just know when they see a guard pull what hole to fill.
And they're at 100%.
Right there. Like, go watch, what's his name? He plays for the Saints. He's not a 4'8" linebacker. He's a lot more athletic than that. I forgot what his name is, but he is brilliant in filling holes. Like it's insane just how quickly these guys read and react. And I think DTD's one of those guys. He's going to be able to get to the ball quickly. He knows what he's looking at. You can trust him in coverage. You can trust him against the run. Is he the most physically assertive player on the field? No. And will he possibly get washed out sometimes against this level of competition? 100%. But at the same time, I think he's going to make more plays than he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm expecting Jalen Ford to take on a lot of those things as well.
Exactly. Jalen Ford is going to be special this year. I think so. Yeah. That's my hot take. If for the season, I think Jalen Ford is going to be a all Big 12 linebacker. Mean? I think he's going to be a first team Big 12 linebacker. That's how good I think he's going to be. Top 2, top 3 linebacker in the conference. That's how highly I think of Jalen Ford.
We got you down, man. That's a good take. I mean, that's not crazy. That's not, nobody's I like, for us, I hope that happens. Yeah. This is a great comment here from Robert Lanier. Linebackers a lot about knowing where to go and being able to do the right thing and fill the right gap. He will provide a baseline level of competency that has not been here recently. That's a very, very good, well-mannered comment, right? Colby, and to be fair to you, it's about expectation, right? Like Kieran just said, his hot take is he thinks Jalen Ford is going to be first team on Big 12 linebacker. I'm not expecting DTD to be all conference. Yeah. I'm just expecting the floor to be good. I need people out. I don't need everybody to be a superstar right now. That's not a reasonable ask. It's not reasonable right now. We're not there yet where we've got pick your NFL guy at every single position. We're not there yet, okay? But I think it is reasonable to assume like we don't have bad football players out there anymore. We don't have guys that aren't going to communicate. We don't have guys out there that have no idea what they're looking at and they don't know where to go, or they're hesitant, or it's wide zone and they wrong shoulder it. And then now everybody's flying upfield and my safeties are getting washed out because everybody at the first 2 levels didn't do what they're supposed to do, right? At the end of the day, if I just have somebody that understands what they're looking at and has good instincts and is able to immediately attack and get in there, and even if they don't make the tackle all the time, but at least you're causing a pile, you're causing disruption. That's all we're asking for. I'm not asking for him to be, if he's anything more than that, great. Great. But I think this staff is really just looking for to establish a better floor to Robert's point. I thought that was very well said.
Yeah. I see Dodge Texas Bear saying he's not sold on Ford. I think Jalen Ford last season was our best linebacker against the run. So, I mean, if you go back and look at some of the plays that he made, I think it was Oklahoma State. I think he played heavily in the West Virginia game. I think he looked better than Overshown or Brockermeyer did against the run. Obviously, there's like some issues there, maybe some over pursuits, but I think he's really solid.
Guys, one thing I ask, especially whether you're watching on TV or you're at the game, collective group homework assignment. especially with the defense, body language. Pre-snap, pay attention to body language. Do guys like just are they, versus, and then juxtapose that last season, right? So I think homework assignment for everybody. Do we just understand what we're doing? Do we calls come? It's not, it's not craziness.
Basic communication and comfortability with the system that they're running, with base, even. Like it doesn't, I don't know. Last year, there's so many times where it didn't seem like things were going. But also early on in the season, early in games, the defense was pretty solid, pretty stout. Like they're capable of doing things.
I mean, shoot, even in the Arkansas game, there were times where they got really bad breaks, right? Where they had to come on short field, right? What do they call that? Sudden change, right? Which you have to prepare for as a defense. Like, hey, we turn the ball over in our own area, sudden change. Let's hold these guys. Let's try to get a turnover or hold them to a field goal. Early in the Arkansas game, they had, I think, 1 or 2 sudden change moments, and they held up. It's just the wear down, right? And I think this is the other thing, too, your training. And this is something that DeMar Van-Overshoon's talked about. Are we mentally tough when we're tired, when our bodies are wearing down? Because what happens a lot of times, bad teams, you'll see stuff like that where they're playing well. You saw this with Nebraska last week, okay? They're playing well, and there's communication. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But when they got worn down and Northwestern really started cranking that football and running it down their throats, all of a sudden people start forgetting their gaps.
Yeah.
Right? Because they got hands on knees.
What's the
all
quote?
Of a sudden their hands go down.
Yeah, like fatigue makes wimps out of all of us or whatever. I forgot what it is. But yeah, like being tired is terrible for everything. Like it
Jimmy Johnson's, it was like fatigue makes cowards of us all.
That's what it is. Yep.
And so sometimes when you're tired, still just knowing what's going on, even though I'm tired, I still am doing everything I'm being asked to do within the scheme. That's the difference between winning and losing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so that's something we want to see improvement from our guys.
Marlon, you are a fool, bro. You are a fool, Marlon. That is.
Yo, stop.
Oh my God. Sorry, that was funny. Dude, when I got that text from you and Hudson, Hudson was just like, Nebraska's getting the full Casey Thompson experience in this game. Like, he got everything. You got the first half, just like, holy crap, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen. He's dropping dimes. He's doing this, to like, damn, he really missed that throw, to like, damn, that was a pick. Why can't we move the ball, to like everything. Goodness gracious. But I tell you what, though, Steve, coming into the season, it is the first season of my life. I can honestly say I don't have expectations.
What does that mean?
I don't have this expectation in my head for us to perform to a certain level.
Okay.
It's more just like, if it happens, it happens. Every season before, it was just like last year, I was like, we should play in the Big 12 championship game. Even though like its first year was Stark, like whatever. It was like, we should play in the Big 12 championship game. In 2019, I was just like, we should win the Big 12 championship. 2020, we should win the Big 12 championship. 2018, we should be in the game. This season, I'm just saying I want us to perform well, because it is a rebuilding year. And it sucks because it takes time to rebuild these programs and get things going. Now, it could be a Tom Herman 2018 rebuilding year where we're way better than we thought we were going to be, like as quicker, you know what I mean? Or it could be just a tough year. But coming into this season, I usually sip the Kool-Aid, man. And this season, I haven't downed it. I've forced myself not to, you know?
Robert, thank you. I want to get to what Karen just said. Robert, thank you for the reminder. Please hit the like button. It helps us out immensely. Subscribe, the whole bit. Thank you to the sponsor, busr.com/fanatic. We were talking about West Virginia Pitt earlier. Hopefully, y'all were on the right side of that last night. Tons of games this weekend. I know a lot of people are hot on the UNC App State over at 56 points. I don't know if it's still at 56 points. Different things like that. So take advantage, player prop bets, Heisman, conference winners, all that. busr.com/fanatic. Promo codes there in the line, all that. Sam just said, Karen, are you saying this because you're in denial so you don't get hurt? And
maybe. No. No, I've played around with it so much, but no, I just can't. I can't do it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, we're gonna do this. It's college football, bro. Like anything and everything will happen to Texas. You know what I mean? I've seen it too many times. It's like, oh yeah, things are gonna be great. David Ash gets hurt. Now we have to start Tyrone Swoops for an
We're gonna
entire
have to
year.
put Marlon in timeout. Godly.
Bro, y'all are going crazy with the parachutes.
They
Yo.
brought up the parachutes
Yeah,
again.
they've been going crazy with the parachutes in the chat. They're saying if we see hands on hips in the third quarter, you know the parachutes were used.
I can't. Oh gosh.
Man, no, I can't. No,
That Nebraska loss was so 2021 Texas. It's not even funny.
no, it was. I mean, to be fair, it was 2021 Nebraska as well.
It was
Like,
2020. Yeah,
it
true.
was very like Scott Frost, "This is what you are" type game. It was okay. It was like Tom Herman's losses. To be honest with you, it's like, oh, you're in control of this game. Now you're not at all. Now you should be in control of this game. Now you lost it. You know, that's yeah.
Great point, Nash. Guys, make sure y'all subscribe to Nash. He does get the Lord's work every single week for this team. Unbelievable job of getting as much film, really the whole practice of the open practice that we had. But during the season, Nash uploads all these games. He's uploading film for for different players, every snap, the whole bit. So great point about here, trying to capture as much pre-snap movement as possible. You hear coaches all the time. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, or those of you who are coaches have used this term before, especially on defense. They say 70% of the battle is alignment, right? Being lined up correctly, being in the proper place, especially on defense. So these are all things to pay attention to for sure.
Also, shout out to Nash for giving every coach easy access to our film. What an asshole, guys. No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying. Before Nash Talks Texas started putting all his videos online, we weren't going 5-7 with a bad off. You know what I mean? Just saying. No. I just love giving Nash crap.
How we gonna cook the man right after we gave him his flowers?
I just give him crap because he recorded the practice. I was just making him feel bad. I was like, oh yeah, thanks, man. It's giving everybody access to our playbook before the season starts. All of that. Shout out to Nash. I love Nash, even though he thinks Isaiah Nayer is gonna be Julio Jones 2.0. It's all good. I wish we could have got to see Julio this year though. That would have been fun. So look, if Texas wins, it's Nash. Nash is doing great. You know what I mean? But if Texas loses, you have somebody to blame, fan base. I'm just letting you know. It's all good.
Somebody said Casey Thompson, DB Cooper. Y'all are on one today. I love it. This is making my whole lunchtime afternoon. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Texas, that's a very toxic combination we have on screen right there. Oh gosh. Much love. Yeah, we gotta appreciate our film.
I have a question though, because it seems like we have added some strength. You know what I mean? It seems like we have revamped the strength and conditioning program. Do you think what percentage of last year's second half failures would you contribute to the strength and conditioning program or scheme? Which because it's one of those two. I would say what would be your percentage split?
I do think I would probably say 60-40 for me. Where strength and conditioning was a problem. I'll give you an example, like the TCU game that we won, but that was because of the running back just decided he was going to do the 4-minute drill by himself.
Yeah.
If not for Bijan doing that, we lose that game because I'll never forget Jacoby Jones and them couldn't walk that 99-yard drive. Like we had people falling down. Like guys, go back and look at that end of that TCU game. Homer and I went to that game. We were there, and Homer's like, the guys can't even get lined up. They're like literally passing out. That's how exhausted they are. And I remember us trying to look up at the time. Homer, you might be able to remind me like what the snap counts were. Like why how many we're acting like we played 95 snaps today. Like what the hell is going on? So that's a big piece of it. But I also think schematically, not coming up like West Virginia game, like you guys made the decision to sit back there and allow somebody to dice you up. That's not a strength and conditioning problem,
No,
right?
you sat with
So
the too high shell and let them cook you all game.
you let them cook you, like you let Daggy. I'm. That's one thing I will say, Karen.
Yeah.
Don't let bad quarterbacks or mediocre quarterbacks or Jekyll Hyde quarterbacks make them work to get into rhythm.
Yeah.
Don't sit back and let a dude complete his first 8 passes and he's like, "Oh, today's gonna be a good day."
That has been the biggest problem of Texas football for the past 6 years. Well, since I guess 2017. We have made so many mid quarterbacks look like Heisman contenders. The first two, if I look, I'm gonna give you this, right? I'm gonna play you 2 games. I'm gonna play you Texas versus TCU 2019, Texas versus TCU 2020. Which quarterback do you think would be in Heisman conversations during the offseason?
Right, Max.
Max Duggan looked incredible because we let him. Now, granted, 2019 we had so many players out. I mean, we were starting Tyler Owens at safety in that game. It was really bad. But 2020 again, just let him go off. We were trying to get pressure. We were doing all this and that. It's so aggravating watching us have mediocre quarterbacks look like superstars against us over and over and over again, man. Daggy having a good game. Who had a great game? I mean, well, KJ Jefferson ended up having like a way better year, but I was just like, KJ Jefferson can't throw, but he's dotting us up right now. But I don't know. I'm tired of seeing that over. Like I think it really started when Taysom Hill just did the things that he did to us, and ever since then, every quarterback that shouldn't be a superstar, you know what I mean, ended up just being on some superstar
Well,
stuff.
so that was a period in
Taysom's
Texas history. Maybe that'll be a chapter in a book at some point. The white dual threat quarterback with a bulky knee brace that would just cook us. Taysom Hill. What
Corn
was the
dog.
guy's name? Bo was it the quarterback from Ole Miss? Do you
Oh,
remember that guy?
Bo Wallace.
Bo Wallace.
Yeah.
Those were guys. What's the Baylor quarterback? Remember he hurtled over
Seth
Dylan?
Russell.
Seth Russell.
Taylor Corndog was crazy too.
Taylor Cornelius.
Yeah.
Taylor Cornelius beat us on like a quarterback draw.
Yes.
Ill.
Yes.
Ill. We lost to that guy. That guy's like Nicolas Cage with like no hair. And it was like
God.
with a knee brace. Like what the hell? We can't
Jerry Bohannon started looking like a solid quarterback against us in the second half last year too. Good God. Just too much. Too much of letting that happen. We can't keep letting that happen.
No.
I'm sorry for bringing up Taysom, guys. I'm sorry.
But that goes to the point when we're talking about the breakout candidates, this defensive staff, everything of things that have to just be fixed, things that can't happen at the school anymore. If we're going to lose football games, lose because we lost to a better team. Okay? Lose because we played at a, I talk about 10 scale. This is just the way I conceptualize football. If we're at least playing at an 8 and somebody beat me playing at a 9 or a 10, I'll tip my hat. You know what I'm saying? GG's. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Like Northwestern or whoever, like there's always things you regret in a game. But like I don't want to lose like Nebraska lost doing dumb shit or letting people off the hook for no reason, things that we can control. That's what I can't tolerate, bro. Or this person is doing something that they didn't do against anybody else. Like nobody else was giving it up to Max Duggan quarterback draw like that or Taylor Cornelius, except for us because we were missing keys or we're not paying attention or people just catching us. If you're going to beat me straight up, bro. That's all I say. Like LSU, everybody wants to talk about like things happen in football games. You're never going to play a perfect game. People are going to drop passes. People are going to have penalties, all that. But at least LSU, like, I felt like we went out there and we played at an 8 or a 9.
Yeah.
But they were great and they beat us. I can go to sleep at night. They were the better team.
Yeah.
But I can't tolerate all the other BS. That's what has to stop. And I think, going to the expectations, because we need to move into what our records are going to be. And I think, whether you're at, from somewhere between 7 to 9 or 10 wins or whatever, that goes into we're just handling our business and know what we're supposed to do. And then when we play the great teams, we got to play at a high level, right? But we can't just blow games and just let people off the hook and all those things. Kieran, I'm gonna go ahead and give my season prediction for a record, and then I'll let you go. I've wrestled with this all off season. The number that's rolled around in my head has been 8-4 for some time, and I know that's probably the most common pick. You know, forgive me for not having the Vegas line. Are we what are we at Vegas wise? 7.5?
I think it might be 8.5. Yeah, hold up.
Is it 8.5 for
I think
Texas?
it's 8.
All right, I need to double check that. I'll check right now on BUSR. I've wrestled with this, and I really like the things recently. You know, some of the stuff they've already gone through as a group, and learning how to overcome. It's 8.5.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to pick this team, and this is going to sound crazy, at least for me, because I've been so conservative about things. I'm going to pick them to go 9-3. I'm going to give them an additional win. I believe in Steve Sarkisian. Ultimately, I do. I know the record does not agree with me. I know that's still not 10 wins technically for him. And people are going to, now bowl game, whatever. But when I consider the video you made about, and again, like you said, you're not picking on Casey Thompson, you're not picking on Hudson Card. It was just showing the lack of execution on the particular play. That's it. If we can execute better, if we can knock out half of those, if we just have better camaraderie, right? People able to hold. I think that shit matters in football, dude. I think it matters. And I think it matters with having some more grown-ups, not just people like DTD in the room and people like Jalen Ford who have been through it and all this type of stuff. But I also think it matters having a Gary Patterson there. I'm not going to tell you what the 3 losses are going to be because football's weird like that. I just think that at the end of the day, I think they'll actually be more consistent against the teams they're supposed to beat. And I think they're going to be able to score a lot of points, especially by the time conference play comes around. Alabama might be ugly, and they still go 9-3. But in my mind, and I don't love it. Like I've been stuck at 8-4, but I'm going to bump that up to 9-3. I think from a recruiting standpoint, from these kids, there needs to be energy.
Yeah.
To charge.
There has to be something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go 9-3. What say you? Mr. Big 12 looks like a bunch of bitches to me. You know what I mean? That's like with that. I honestly though, I'll be honest. I think West Virginia is going to be a better team. I think they have solid. We already saw it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to be a better team. I think Graham Harrell's going to call some aggressive plays. Goodness gracious, against us. If he sees some weaknesses, he's going to keep going at it over and over and over again. I think we're a better team though, but that's something down the line. I honestly think losing Isaiah Nayer and Junior Angalau, who's going to start at center, I think that was the difference between us competing for a Big 12 championship and not. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
So I'm sticking with 8-4. I think 8-4 is probably where we're going to end up being. Like you said, the losses, I don't know. It's football. I don't see us losing to teams that we shouldn't anymore. You know what I mean? But if this team is closer, like you say, I think we'll end up having a better season than 8-4. Just because I think when you're a close team, when you care, when those are your brothers, those are your dogs, you know what I mean? Like you're capable of rebounding from tough losses or tough moments, and you're holding each other accountable. You know? So I think 8-4 is where I'm sitting at right now. It's a conservative pick. It is. I think this team is capable of 9-3, 10-2, but we have to show it on the field. Also, we're so young. So young, man. Like I forgot who we were talking, who I was talking to the other day. 8 out of the 11 starters that we're going to have at some point in the season are going to be, or no, I think it's like 9 out of the 11 starters that we'll have at some point this season on the offensive side of the ball are going to be freshmen or sophomores. Like, That's an incredible amount of youth. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm not as comfortable picking this team to go out there and just perform extremely well early on. So yeah, I think 8 wins is probably where I'm sitting at. Um, and this is the difficult part though too, Steven. If we go 8-4, I feel like we lose all the games that it was just like, oh, well, this takes you from being like this team to the next level. You know, like it's like if we go 8-4, it's like okay, you lost Bama, you lost Oklahoma, you lost Baylor, you lost Oklahoma State on the road, or Kansas State. You know what I mean? Like you win one of those, but at the same time, like you likely lost those 4 games, which sucks. It really does because like you should beat those teams. It's going to be frustrating either way, but at the same time, it's a process. I don't want to sit here and say that we're going to be all world when we're so 8-4.
So that's thank you for bringing up that point, because that's leading me right into my next thought. It's not just about the record to me. Like it's how they look. And I think that's going to matter again in recruiting in terms of what you're building. That's why I've been saying, and you said it too. That's why I kind of was holding your feet to the fire about when you said I don't have expectations, because I wanted to kind of dig what you meant by that. And I think I got there in terms of, it's kind of what I've been saying. This is going to be more of the journey season. This is the season where we're going to have some rough moments and things happen, and we're watching them grow. So yeah, like I'm saying 9 wins. I guess today I'm feeling good. I'm back in Austin. You know, maybe I'm drinking a little Kool-Aid, right? But at the end of the day, whether it's 8-4 or 9-3, I really think it's going to be harder to sell 7-5. Like that's tough.
Yeah.
But even in those games, right? You're talking about, well, if we lose 4 games, that means you lost to one of those type of teams. Again, what did the game look like? What are people's stats? Do people start looking like they're NFL players, right? Like, are we seeing tangible signs of like, oh, this is undeniable that we're improving. Like, this is undeniable. Like, this team is going to be a problem in 2023. Now, again, we can only account so much for health. I think it's a great point about what you brought with Nair and Angulau. We have guys that are banged up right now, right? Rojo's banged up. Alfred's banged up. We know Barron's giving it a go, but these guys aren't 100% either. But if they continue to recruit and we have this whole youth movement, like in the roster overhaul, we feel as though we have better, more qualified people to go out there when their number is called, i.e., you know, Jaylen Gilbert when he had to step up. But we got to see it in games. We got to see it, you know. I have real concerns. Please go check out my concerns video. I have concerns about the kicking game, around field goal kicking. That could potentially win or lose you a game. Where we kind of had that as set it and forget it with Cameron Dicker in those situations.
And this is my other thing too about offense, losing the guys that we have, being banged up, right? You didn't just lose like one of your wide receivers and one of your offensive linemen. You lost your most solid offensive lineman from over the past 2 seasons. You lost him. You lost what was going to be the anchor of your offensive line this season. And you lost the big fish that you got in the transfer portal other than your quarterback. Like, obviously, I think Quinn Ewers is going to take this team to the next level when he starts playing well, developing. You got the freshman on your offensive line, but you're missing, like, our starting 3 wide receivers up in this game. They were all on this team last year. They all were. You have Worthy, Whittington, Casey Kane. Those are going to be your starting 3. Can you say that Casey Kane is unequivocally better than Marcus Washington?
No, you can't say that.
You know what I mean? Like obviously, I think if Agiye Hall comes back, starts playing at a high level, Casey Kane.
That's where I was going.
You know
Agiye Hall. That's the thing, though, Kieran. Jaylen Gilbert. We'll see. Now we need to see again. We need to see Bubba Cook in the real games.
Yeah.
But when we really needed him to step up in practice in this camp, he did. Can we get that from Agiye Hall coming back? Like, shit already hit the fan with him. So now it's like, dude, Nair goes down after your stuff, right? And I'm on your side against UT Parking, by the way, brother. But at the end of the day, you already one of them ones that they had their eyes on you before you got here. That's just the reality of the situation. Everybody has the same. But can we grow up in the next? Is that unrealistic? Is he just going to be one of those guys where it's going to take longer to get to a point where we can count on somebody like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Ajay Hall might be that X factor, because if he can come in and play at an all conference level, he can be the talent that we know he is. Good God, watch out. We're going to be dangerous again. But I think missing Nair for so many different reasons, schematically being like the number one thing though. Like he provides a nightmare for a defensive coordinator. Okay, I got this guy that can burn my corner one-on-one deep. I got this guy that can burn my corner one-on-one deep. I have a slot guy that's a demon in possession. He's going to be able to break free against a safety and make a contested catch, or he's going to be able to mix him in short space. I have Jaleel Billingsley, who's a nightmare matchup for a linebacker. I have Jatavian Sanders, who's a nightmare matchup for a linebacker. You know what I mean? Or I have Bijan Robinson that I can split out wide. There's so much to do there. Now you're saying, who's the deep threat outside of Xavier Worthy? Bracket. Cool. I'll worry about everything else on its own.
That's one of the huge questions. Now Quinn Ewers can help with this a little bit because one of his X-Man abilities is ball placement, all those things. Arm talent matters. I mean, you saw that from JT Daniels yesterday in the West Virginia game. JT's problem is toughness and not staying on the field. No one has ever questioned
JT Daniels' talent. Yeah.
Yes. He throws. That's what Quinn's going to look like whenever. Now he's not going to take he's not going to be reckless taking those type of shots like that. Yeah. Our offense will not look like that. But when you see JT Daniels throw Ford Wheaton a 9, right? Or throwing him a fade, look where the ball is being placed. Some of that is just he's dropping it in the bucket every time.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think that with the uptick in that ability that quarterback has, that can help a guy like a Casey Kane a little bit, or guys being able to just adjust easier to the football, the little things. However, going back to a point I think you wanted to get to earlier, that's the next breakout person that we got to talk about is Jatavian Sanders. Jatavian Sanders could potentially be your second leading receiver on this football team next year.
I think he will be. That's a hot take. I think Jatavian Sanders is going to be your second leading receiver on this football team.
Second leading receiver.
Yeah. I think he's that good.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, by the end of this year, you're going to be like, wow, we have an NFL tight end. That's how good I think Jatavian Sanders is.
We need our great players to be good, man. Our great prospects to become great players. How about that? I'll put it that way. Yeah. We need our great prospects to become great players. Now, they may not be great players where they're developing into great players. It may be more 2023, but we got to see those things. But I do think ball placement from the quarterback, when I'm looking at some of those throws yesterday that JT was throwing, I'm like, wow, those look so catchable.
Yes. He was dropping dimes, man. I tell you what, he was dropping some dimes. I forgot who else it was that I saw. Oh, hey, Spencer Sanders was dropping some dimes too. I'm not gonna lie. Early on in that game, he was getting that ball up and over. It was just perfectly falling down on dudes. But yeah, no, JT Daniels was slinging it out there too.
So Jordan Whittington, this is a good one, right? Because Jordan Whittington should be the second leading receiver. I gotta keep him healthy though. I mean, until we see it, it's a concern. That's my because he was our second leading. When he played last year, he had games over 100 yards. He had games where he had 6 catch, 88 yards and a touchdown type games. That's great.
He was our leading receiver going into the Oklahoma game, I believe.
You're right. He was exploded. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, before Worthy. I mean, Worthy had that great game against Tech, but I think Whittington was still our leading receiver because he went off against TCU. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to have Whittington back because he provides that presence over the middle that we just did not have in the second half of the season last year. It's essentially hey, you're either going to hit Worthy deep or good luck. You know what I mean? But I think having a tight end receiving threat is a completely different. I mean, you've heard me go off and on about Cade Brewer in space, and how I thought Jatavian Sanders was going to look in those types of situations. So I'm excited to see whenever we get Jatavian Sanders in a one-on-one situation, I think he's going to make somebody miss and he's going to cut up field for 25, 30 yards, So we'll see. Also, the dude has some extremely solid hands too. So I think we have those presences in the middle of the field. And then I think what concerns me is just that okay, the other side is Casey Kane there. So I think Casey Cane's a talented player, and from what I hear, he's been developing. He's been making nice contested catches. He's been able to get some separation. He's beating people on deep balls. He's doing everything that he's supposed to. We'll see what happens in the game. You know what I mean? We'll
Sark
see what
said
happens.
it's different when there's 100,000 people out there and them lights are on. So Sark
Exactly.
said it's different.
It is. It's different. He's calling them out. Hey, you got to be able to perform when it matters. You know?
I've talked to Tran about this on the channel too. And yeah, Buddha. You know, I don't agree with a lot of things Buddha says, but he's been nice to me, and you know, he's trying to be a truth teller. I don't, you know, I'm not going to boot him or anything like that. But I will say this in terms of, you know, I talked to Tran about this before with football. You're performing in front of an audience.
Yeah.
You're in front, like you still have to. I need people like. Now, granted, the highest end of this example is Vince Young, who, you know, he. The bigger the moment, the bigger the crowd, the more he wants to perform. You see that in basketball, all sports, right? Barry Bonds, you made the amazing Barry Bonds video. I remember back in the day, like it seemed like the more cutaways they would do to every Barry Bonds at bat, the more amazing his at bat would be, right? And next thing you know, the ball's going to McCovey Cove and to the boats and stuff. And you want to find guys like that are performers on Saturdays. I know the boy just transferred, but I used to talk to his father all the time. His father Reginald. I can't remember his last name right now, but he was saying my son is a Friday night player. You know, during the week sometimes blah blah blah, but like Friday nights we turn up, Saturday nights turn up, and so I think that's a very very you know, real thing, and the coaches are looking to see that who can perform. That's what he's talking, especially with the kickers and stuff.
I think that's another strong suit of Quinn Ewers, in my honest opinion. I think when the lights are on, that kid performs better. So I'm excited to see what he does. Also, can we not mess around here though either? I was kind of realizing this the other day. Quinn Ewers is the most important player on this team by a wide margin.
Yeah.
Because if he plays at an elite level, this is an elite team. Like, period. It's just like it's going to happen that way. Because that's college football. If you have an elite quarterback, you're going to be an elite football program. It doesn't matter. Like
this too. He's one of the most important players in all college football this season, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
The eyeballs that are on Quinn from so many different angles, recruiting. You don't think the Manning family is going to be looking at Quinn Ewers this season? Yeah. You don't think that like Pat McAfee show when they cut over when he announced that he was leaving South Lake Carroll to go to Ohio State and the NIL deal, and they're showing him throwing sidearm and all this type of stuff, and they're like, man, can this guy, like, is he just a trick shot type guy or can he play football? Like, these are real things that people have these perceptions. Like, I got into it with Sharp Sports over Quinn Ewers.
Over Quinn Ewers, yeah. I mean, people are posting bad takes because Quinn Ewers is popular. Like, it is what it is. Like, I think he's easily. I mean, hell, College Football Live was talking about that the other day. It was just like, is this the most anticipated debut that you could think of like a college quarterback in recent memory? And I think it might be.
I think it might be.
You're talking about like the #1 overall player, big transfer, a lot of drama leading up to it. He's at the University of Texas, which is, as much as people like to act like we're irrelevant, we're always on their mind. You know what I mean? But I think Quinn Ewers is just, if he goes out there and he performs at an extremely high level, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This team is going to be good. It's going to be good. And that to me is just like, okay, cool. We can struggle to get pressure defensively. The offensive line can be this and this and that. They have to be able to protect enough for him to play at a high level. But if he goes out there and he is a stud, he is just ripping through shit, we're going to be an elite team. You're looking at a team that's probably going to a Big 12 championship, because that's the way college football is. And I think that's the area that I don't think like enough people are talking about. Yes, we understand he's a very highly ranked player, but this is the most naturally talented quarterback that we've had on campus in a very long time. And the fact that he's going to have weapons around him, he's going to have opportunity. If he goes out there and performs, we're special. Because that's what happens. Louisville wasn't a special roster. They had a special quarterback who went out there and did some great things. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't this is that situation. We have a better roster around him. But if he goes out there and performs at the level that we all know that he's capable of, come on now.
I'm struggling to really come up with another example of somebody this highly rated or regarded where we're anticipating their first start, because Trevor Lawrence was on this level, I would say, in terms of, especially after the opening and the really the rivalry that kind of started out of Georgia between him and Justin Fields, when it's all, that whole thing. Justin Fields wins the lead 11, but like Trevor Lawrence was like that man, right? Where we knew, people were talking about this guy is going to be the number one pick in the NFL draft. Like they were saying that about Trevor Lawrence his senior year of high school. But because he went to Clemson and that team was already loaded and coming off the playoffs, they eased him in. So I don't even remember like his first start, honestly. Like it was Kelly Bryant the whole way, and then but they were playing Trevor Lawrence, and then that after the fourth game, Dabo infamously gets pissed off that Kelly Bryant decided to bounce.
Dude, that was crazy. Like, dude, that was the wildest. Like, okay, this is a new rule. We're using it automatically. Like, I'm gone. That was phenomenal.
Jameis Winston was a big debut. This is a good comment, and that's almost, damn, we're coming up on almost 10 years. It's not 10 years yet. It's like 8 years or whatever.
No. For Jameis?
For Jameis, has it been 10 years?
It's 9.
9?
9 years. It'll be
Shit.
10. God, we're old, man. I turn 24
bro.
tomorrow. This is crazy. Freaking
Dude.
24 years old. Goodness gracious. Yeah.
It's
Also,
9.
shout out. We did. I saw this comment earlier. We just got a commitment from a 24 wide receiver, Hunter Moden, from Clear Lake in Houston.
Nice. I got to go check him out. I'm not too as Shaq says, I'm
more
not
speed
with his more speed.
Yep, more speed. He what's it called? He's
Jimmy Clausen's debut was extremely hyped. I think he was it against Michigan, his very first game in like 06. Jimmy Clausen, that was a big one. Jimmy
Matt
Clausen
Barkley as well.
huge.
I remember Matt Barkley
because he won the job. Matt Barkley won the job as a true freshman.
As a true freshman. Yep. Matt Barkley won the job at USC as a true freshman after Mark Sanchez left. Goodness gracious. Yeah, there's a couple of big ones out there, but this one's bigger in my opinion. Just because you're looking at like all the drama that went into it. Not only is he the number one player, he went to Ohio State with he left high school early. He made national news because he had this $1.3 million NIL deal or whatever they said, right? Ends up going there. Transfers after that first year, ends up transferring to Texas, which everybody hates. You know what I mean? Now he's here, wins the starting job because boosters told Sarkisian to do it. You know what I mean? Like all of these different storylines that everybody's telling. And now he's going to be making his debut. I'll tell you what though, so many people want to see that kid fail. It's crazy. The amount of times that you've heard like people say, "Oh, Tate Martell, he's the next Tate Martell, this and this and that." I think it's crazy to me how many people want to see this kid fail.
And that's how you want to see somebody. You're praying on somebody's demise when you go straight to Tate Martell.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
people like in between, right? Like a guy like Jimmy Clausen, right? Like who was highly rated and played well at Notre Dame. If you look at the totality of Jimmy Clausen's career at Notre Dame, he's actually really good. But he didn't do what was expected of him, right? They never go to like the mid-tier guy.
Yeah, they don't go to Kyle Allen or anyone. They go straight to Tate Martell. Doesn't make sense to me.
That's how you praying on somebody's demise.
Honestly.
So this comment here was pretty good. The comments are rolling in. Guys, again, thank you. 254 in here. We're at 130. I want to go a little bit longer. I know, Kieran, you're going to be checking out some high school ball tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to be at the Allen C.E. King game with the Hudson. It's going to be fun.
So anybody that's going out there, y'all go say what's up. Allen's coming off a bloodbath.
When you play a high school team that all has NIL deals, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty tough, especially from California where they get them from everywhere.
But no, if y'all see Karen out there, go say what's up to the big homie before and wish him happy birthday. Chosen Rosen at UCLA was a big deal. I will give you that. I cannot give you Kyler Murray at OU because Kyler Murray had already played at Texas A&M. Okay. So we're talking about people we have not seen play college football yet. Kyler Murray, once he transferred, the dynamic changed with him. I'm sorry. Now, yes, we already knew what Kyler Murray was at Allen. In my opinion, best high school quarterback football I've ever seen personally with my own two eyes.
Oh.
But once he played at Texas A&M and that whole situation fell apart under Kevin Sumlin, and he went and sat a year and he was kind of rotating in every now and again under Baker Mayfield. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. The Kyler Murray example in his debut at OU, it doesn't feel the same. Had Kyler Murray done that coming straight from Allen to OU,
Plus he had already played.
That's what I'm saying. He'd already played.
Yeah.
So that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Ryan Mallett at Michigan, I do kind of remember that, but it's another big name for sure. Ryan Mallett was huge recruit. Everybody's cooking Sean Clifford. Talking about he old as shit.
Hey, Sean Clifford let him hang yesterday. Yo, you know who's really old as shit? Is it Darius or one of the Stills brothers is still at West Virginia?
Yeah, he's still there, and a lot of people
has been there since Sam Ellinger's freshman year. What is going on?
I don't know what the eligibility rules are.
Hold up, I gotta find out what year he is right now.
That doesn't make sense. 27, dog. That boy's at least 27 years old.
Dante Stills.
He's gonna take pension from West Virginia. My goodness.
This man has played in 47 career games. Are both of them still there? Dante and Darius?
The other one left.
Okay. I was about to say, this is getting crazy. Yeah, Dante Stills. He's a senior, a super duper senior. What year in high school was he? Yeah, he was a freshman in 2018. Class of 20. Okay, so he's the same class as like Deshaun Jameson and them.
Thank you for bringing this up, Homer.
Please.
Tate Martell lost his 5th star. He at one point I think he was a 5-star. But when he got to Ohio State, he was a 4-star. Let's be clear about that. Then they had DTR. They were already saying DTR, who was his backup, was going to be better than him, which turned out to be the case. They were saying that then when they were at Bishop Gorman. Please don't forget this. And they had DTR out there playing receiver for Martell. And then DTR ends up like he's still a starting quarterback at UCLA, right? And
UCLA.
So like,
yep.
What are we talking about?
That's crazy. He went to UNLV and couldn't win the starting job. That's why. Like that's, I don't know.
I knew something was up when they had him out there when he went to Miami and they had that boy playing in the slot with no gloves. I was like, this looks horrible.
Like him transferring from Ohio State made sense, but like him going elsewhere and not being able to compete was crazy.
Somebody in the comments said Stills at West Virginia has tenure now.
that man
Stills got Social Security benefits and everything for West Virginia.
Good God. No, he's been there forever, bro. Both of them are just there for so long. I'm just so happy Malcolm Rodriguez is out of the Big 12. Oh yeah. Before I got to get going here soon because my laptop's here about to die. But before we get going, I wanted to ask you, looking at these teams that played in the Big 12, do you think that Derek Mason defense at Oklahoma State is really going to be struggling that much? Because I think they are going to miss Jim Knowles this year. I'm not sure.
They're going to miss him. So here's the thing. This is why I said it what I said at the very beginning. We have to be careful with week 1. We have to be careful because I know everybody's looking at, dog, they gave up 44 points. They gave up 500-something yards. Like the Central Michigan quarterback looking tough out there, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, some of it was garbage, but it's like, yo, y'all did not look like at all like the same group. My thing is, what do they look like when conference play starts? Because their shit is going to look sloppy for the next few weeks. I don't expect them to fix everything right away. But what are they going to look like by the time we see them? That's what I'm concerned about.
Exactly.
They could be a completely different group. And so we've gotten – as I get older, Karen, as we all get older, I'm really learning perspective matters in college football in week 1 versus week 6, week 7, when they find their guys and they know what their rotations are. So we have to be – and we also have to be careful with people that look like killers in week 1.
Yeah.
And turn out to be frauds.
Yeah. Kenny Hill.
Kenny Trill.
Kenny Trill, man. You know,
Kenny Trill. Okay, before you bounce, who's your Heisman winner?
My Heisman winner this year is Will Anderson. I think it's happening.
Alabama.
I think it's gonna be Will Anderson and
winning
C.J. Stroud, because this is my thing. I think Bryce Young is gonna play at a Heisman level. I think they're gonna be outstanding, but I know they don't like giving back-to-back Heismans, and also when there's a real discussion about you not being when there's a real discussion about you not being the best player on your team, I think people are going to start looking at Will Anderson more seriously. And if Will Anderson goes out there and gets a 20-sack season in the SEC, you're not going to tell me or anybody else that he's not the best player in college football. So I think Will Anderson will win the Heisman this year. Like, that's my actual bet. Like, I would really put that down. If Will Anderson, say, misses like a game or two or ends up just having like a bad performance, because that's the thing, he has to go out there. Like, I'm sorry, Texas, he's gonna have to have an amazing game against us, and he probably will, because he's the best edge rusher I've seen in college football since. Good God, I think he's above Joey and Nick Bosa and Chase Young over there at Ohio State. And I think he's the most dominant force on the defensive line I've seen since Ndamukong Suh. I think he's that good. So I'd say if he goes out there and he just doesn't get a sack against like a Tennessee and they play him close or something, you know what I mean? Like, I think he falls out of contention.
He's gonna have to, and that's the great point, right? Like, he's gonna have to be so disruptive and so crazy in the big games where all the eyeballs are on him.
And he usually is, though. That's the thing. He usually is.
That's what kind of slowed down Chase Young's momentum at Ohio State. Was like there was a couple games there where people, and it wasn't his fault, like people just like avoided him. The thing that helps Will Anderson is that you can't do that because Dallas Turner's on the other side.
Yep.
So you gotta play Alabama honestly, which means he's gonna. You have to play him.
You got to play 12 personnel and chip them all game like we're gonna do.
Yep.
Yeah. So, no, but other than that, though, I'd say if Will Anderson doesn't win, it's gonna be C.J. Stroud, because I think C.J. Stroud's gonna pass for 55 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, his numbers are gonna be
crazy. They're gonna dog walk that conference.
And the thing is, depending on what he does against Notre Dame in game one, he's gonna have the media narrative from day one after this week, because this is like that's the big marquee game, right? And so we've seen sometimes where somebody comes out early and has a big performance and then they ride out the rest of the season, that you already established yourself as the front runner, especially with him already making it to New York last year. Karen, thank you for joining. Season prediction or game predictions. I have 58-17 tomorrow. If weather is not that much of a challenge and there's no delays and all that type of stuff, I have us winning 58-17, which means we cover the 38.5. And if there is weather challenges, then I don't think we'll cover, and we're probably in the 40s. But I'm going to stick to my 58-17 prediction. I don't think the defense is going to be perfect. I do think we will have a non-offensive touchdown and make some plays. And I think we'll see more disruption.
I'm going to say 59-10. And I think Brendan Thompson, if he's put on kick return, houses the opening kickoff return.
Hot take. You said 59-10?
Yeah, 59-10.
Okay.
I think they score a touchdown later in the game, like against backups.
Okay.
Because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to say like it's going to tell me too much about the defense, because our best defensive unit gave up 50 against Maryland week 1. You know what I mean? So like week one. But if ULM is putting up 20 on us, it's going to be a long year. This is a terrible offense. This is the worst offense in the country from last year.
Hey, we gotta look like Tennessee did against Ball State. You know, just go out there, leave no doubt right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Just
Hendon Hooker is gonna have a year.
That's my Heisman pick.
Wow.
That's my Heisman pick. I actually put money on it. Hendon Hooker.
I don't hate it.
You have to go against the grain sometime. I'm going against the grain.
I don't hate it.
Odds were crazy. Like, it was like plus, at the time I did, it was plus 600.
If they somehow go out there, upset some of these teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Hendon Hooker last year, even against Bama, had almost 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Like, now he's going to have to like win one of these games. And I think, Georgia game's going to matter, but I like what he's doing with Josh Heupel in them. I think they're going to be humming.
Yeah.
Heisman guys, you just never know with some of these predictions.
You don't.
Last year, before the season, I bet Bryce Young. So I don't know if I'll go back-to-back years, but I did bet Bryce Young before the season started. I had money on it.
If Texas goes 10-2, 11-1, which Is there anyone in New York?
You could see Bijan or I mean,
I think
depending
it's
on
Quinn.
Quintavious.
I think it's Quintavious. Because look, I'll put it this way: if Quintavious comes in, Quinjamin, if you will, comes in with that mullet and like lights shit up, like he throws 45 touchdown passes, and we're like one of the best offenses in the country, and we win the Big 12. Bro's winning the Heisman, bro. I don't care what happens with everybody else. I don't care if Bryce Young just beats him in a straight up competition. Bryce Young might win it then. That's gonna be tough. But yeah, if Quinjamin goes out there and gets some shit done,
The thing
I think
about
he's gonna
Bryce
win it.
Young is because I honestly thought about betting him again. My thing is the college football media and people vote on this stuff. They're very selective about anybody where they want to give them that award twice. It's only happened one time. They're very, very, very anal about that stuff. And so Bryce Young's going to have to be, unfortunately, he's kind of going against, it's a different grading scale for him than it is for everybody else.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And
he's got to be perfect this year. If you win the Heisman and come back and you want to win it again, you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
There's no other way. But Bryce Young could do that. You know what I mean?
Because the thing is, they don't want to do that, because if you win 2 Heisman Awards, and your team goes back to the national championship, you're in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they want to start going there with college football players.
I don't know though, because sure, you can argue ACL ring with Georgia, but like losing a national championship, you'll never get put in there. In my opinion, you'll never.
If you lose,
Bryce Young could go win a natty, but you can say he has one of the best teams of all time this year with 2 top 5 picks on the edge, like at edge. He has 2 first round DBs. He has a really talented linebacker grouping. Like I don't think you can throw him in there. Yeah. But I mean, it's gonna be really solid for him to win 2. He'll just be the best player back.
And that's where it goes kind of like more subjective eye test, like what we saw versus what your resume says. Right? Because his resume is going to be stupid when he leaves Alabama.
Yeah. Well, that's every Alabama quarterback.
His awards, but because he got to start so young, Jalen Hurts, go back and look at Jalen Hurts' stuff, Tua's stuff, they kind of bouncing around and kind of got in each other's way. Bryce has been uninterrupted, and we'll see. Guys, thank you for your score predictions. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the super chat. If you see Karen at the CE King game, Alan,
and I'm going to be at Texas Live tomorrow night watching the game, celebrating my birthday. So if you see me, buy me a beer because I'm drinking, be getting turned. You know what I mean? All of that.
Take care of my guy. Have some. Texas Live is going to be a great atmosphere up in Arlington to watch all the games. I'll be at the game, so I wish I was there with you, but there in spirit. If you see Tran and I or our families tomorrow at the game, give us a shout, say what's up, and let's go out there and give great energy wherever we're at, whether it's abroad, whether it's in the stadium. Football's back. This is what we've been waiting on, y'all. I'm so freaking excited, Karen. I'm so freaking excited, gang. Folks, get your bets in. This is one of the best times right now before the season starts. BUSR.com/Fanatic, the official sports book, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. I appreciate you guys so much. Buddha, get your bets in, brother. I see you out here. I appreciate you too, family. Get your bets in on whoever you want. If you want to hate on Texas, you want to bet on ULM to cover, you want to bet on Texas under 8.5 wins, go do it on BUSR.com/Fanatic. Guys, I appreciate the love, the support of the channel. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. We outside, baby. One more day. Go check out the Tashard Choice video that they just dropped.
It's a good video. It's a solid video.
I'm gonna listen to that video before I walk into the stadium tomorrow. Kieran gonna listen to that before he walk into Texas Live. We about to be lit.
Yeah.
All right. So we appreciate y'all. Debut of Quinn Ewers. We get Bijan back here.
Football is back, baby. It's back.
Football is back.
Finally. Goodness gracious. It's been such a long off season.
Amen. Y'all remember, horns always up. Hook 'em.